Alrighty. We are back. It's a interesting one today. Very, very interesting for a numerous amount of reasons. Not only is this just a bizarre, bizarre time for a European game, a European away day. It's very cold in the Kazakhstani capital, but we will be going there, and a lot of the squad is going to be quite different because we've put out the squad list of the players that we've brought on the journey to Kazakhstan, and a lot of them are youth players. Now we don't have too many senior players. A lot of them are being rested for the Brentford game, which is smart by Enzo Maresca. We're already qualified, so this really doesn't matter. And even though we'd like to go flawless in this competition and stay at the top of the table, it doesn't matter at this point. We're through to the next round, so we can give some young stars some opportunities, and we'll kind of dive into that as I do my predicted lineup here in a second. But let me do my checks real quick, and then we can crack on. Here, pop my chat out. Here you go. I'm still not sure why the I'm still really not sure why the thing says the stream text is not available. I really don't know why it does that. I'm gonna have to set up Streamlabs again and probably do it that way, because it's that seems to be a better way of doing it. But yeah, so this is a bit of a weird again, another just a bit of a weird game because again the kickoff time is early. The weather is very, very cold over there. Over in Kazakhstan, and if we could take a look at the let me take a look at the Conference League table. Obviously we sit at the top of it, and our opponents, Astana, are all the way down in 23rd. So they are in they're currently in the second qualifying round. I don't actually know what it's called, but they're kind of in the play. I think it's like a playoff round that they have to play, whereas we're in the automatic qualification for the last 16. So that's good for us. We are playing a team that aren't in the greatest form, it can be said. Obviously, they're 23rd. They've won one game in this competition, lost two, and drawn one. I'm not really sure. I haven't actually done that much research. I don't think that they've played any teams that are particularly too difficult or particularly too easy in those games. So I think that this will be, for the majority of the time, a pretty easy one for us. As I said, we do have a bit of a weakened, depleted side because we are very, very heavily rotating, and even though we usually do that and we usually play our kind of B team, this is going to be more of like a C team, genuinely. The players that we have in here, apart from the defense is pretty strong. The players that we're going to be having in here are not the first teamers or the second teamers that we are used to. So let me swap over to this and we can do the predicted lineup. And as I said, the lineup should come out relatively soon. They've been putting them out at about 1:15 every single time, so with kickoff being a 3:30 kickoff, I usually so they usually do it an hour before, but that's been changed and they don't do it like that anymore. So we'll see when they come out. It's probably going to be about 10 minutes. Let's start with the goalkeeper, and obviously we'll react to the lineup so when they do come out in about 10 minutes. First up in goal is going to be Philip Jurgensen. I think this is a no-brainer. He pretty much plays any game that's not in the Premier League, so this is probably the strongest part of our team will be this backline, because the majority of the players in this backline are going to be players that we've kind of always played in this competition. Now, this next spot is quite controversial, and it's for the right back role, or what I'm going to be calling the right centre back role, because spoiler alert, I believe our left back will kind of be the one that inverts in this game if we play that style, which I assume we will. And it's going to be for Joshua Chempong. Now, he hasn't been playing recently because of contract disputes, but we were kind of told, and there was reports that there's been some progress made in those talks, so I think he will play. I think that it's a necessity that he does play, if I'm being honest. We do have other defenders in in the squad, but they're all not as senior as Josh is, and that's saying something considering how little appearances that Josh has actually had for us. The majority of the picks I'm going to be making for this predicted 11 is going to be basically based on seniority. Has there been a confirmation that he's going to start? Okay, good, because I know he said, I didn't actually watch the presser. I didn't have the time to, but I know I've seen quotes from the presser, and I know he said something along the lines of 2 of the youth players will start, and I took that as 2 other players, so I didn't know if that was going to be him. But I would put Josh in here. I think that for the most part, this team does kind of pick itself, if I'm being honest, because of the limited options that we have, because the players that aren't there. For example, Benoit Badiashile is not coming, so he's the player that would usually play in this left centre back role. He's not going to be playing today, so we're a bit short there, and that does mean that in the right centre back role, I'm going to be putting Axel Disasi, who is in the squad, I believe. I hope I haven't mispronounced that. Which, yeah, so you said like Disasi left centre back position is quite worrying. I don't think he's going to play there. I think that he's going to play in the centre, because he's played in the centre before, and we've seen that he's he's actually very, very good in the centre role. Obviously, he's not the paciest, which means that the other of the 2, Tosin Adalabioyo, I think will be the player that kind of plays in that left centre back role when he's able to. Because again, as I said, Disasi, he's really, really underrated, and people kind of talk about the fact that he's not very quick and the fact that he's fairly easy to beat. But it's just because the way he plays is, he's so much more suited to being either a central centre back in a back 3 or a right centre back in a back 2. When he plays out in the wide areas, which is kind of where he's having to be played this season, he doesn't play as well because he can't really do the things which he's good at, which is stepping up, intercepting things, and also playing incisive passes through the middle. So I think he's going to be there. As you said, Vega is the only left back in the squad, so he's 100% playing here. I think he would have been playing anyway, even if this wasn't a depleted side. I think he just kind of goes in here immediately. It's him and Cuckoo just rotate in and out every single time. The next position is interesting, though, because we basically do not have Cesare Cassidy in the starting in the squad that's come over, which is very interesting, because you'd imagine that he would be the one that play at the base of midfield. So the player that I expect to play here, and obviously he's going to be partnered with Vega, who will invert, is Samuel Raksaki. Now, I think he's going to play here because we've seen him play a few times. We saw him obviously come off the bench against Noah, and he slotted into this role, or one of these 2 midfield roles. I think he's going to be the one that does that again here. Mainly, again, I speak about the seniority. I think out of all of the midfielders that we have, in terms of a defensive player... Oh, is he suspended? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that he's in terms of, so it's between 2 players for this midfield role. It was between 2 players for me. It was either him or Keanu Dyer, and I think that he suits the defensive role more than Keanu Dyer. Dyer is more of an offensive player than Saki is, so I think he would play here. The 2 forwards ahead of them, or forwards, the like inside 10s, picks itself to, in my opinion, if it would stop lagging. Come on. Go on, Microsoft. It's going to be Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who I'm going to be putting on the right, because even though he is a left-footed player, I think we like to play inward, so I'm going to put him on the right. And finally, we get a first-team start for Carney Chukwuemeka. This is going to be quite a fun game, I think, because I think that like the balance of our midfield is not very good, so I expect this to kind of be a back and forth kind of basketball game if Astana really want to actually take it to us and try and win. I think this is the strongest midfield we can field, and seeing Carney back in the team is just something that's really nice to see. He's obviously not really made it into the team under Enzo Maresca, and I'm not really sure what that's... I don't really know the logistics of that. I'm not sure if it's because he doesn't think that he can play here, or if he doesn't think he's defensively responsible enough to be as a box-to-box 8 or what have you. Something that he's seen in training has mean that Carney isn't getting into the team, but hopefully now he can kind of impress in this game. So the front 3 is a bit more interesting though, because we have seen similar setups to this in the past. The most senior player in the entire team, in my opinion, in the front line is Pedro Neto. He's the only one from our actual first 11 that actually that can actually start. So I think he's going to play on the right. Over on the left, I would be very, very shocked if we do not see Tyreek George. And even though I think these two could play on the opposite flank, definitely, because we've seen George play on the right flank before we've seen Neto play on the left flank. I think it would be nice for us to give George an opportunity on his favoured side, because he has only ever played on the right side for us, even though he is naturally a player that likes to cut onto his right foot from this left-hand side. The only concern I have with this is because obviously the way that we set up these eights, we have 2 left footers on this side, 2 right footers on this side, so maybe we might flip them around to get a bit more diversity and a bit more of a balance there, so we can have either side kind of 2 options there. And of course, up top, it's probably going to be Mark Guiu. That's what I would imagine, because he is the only senior striker in the team. Obviously, Joao Felix has had some kind of problem, and Nkunku is not included in the squad. Sorry, someone's just asked a question. I don't think that. See, it's weird. The KDH situation, I think, is a matter of. I would suggest that Enzo Maresca, when he has joined the club, has seen the team. Obviously, we said before that he'd kind of done a lot of studying of the team and knowing what type of players he had and what type of players he didn't have. And I imagine what he kind of envisioned was that Enzo Fernandez was not going to be as good this season as he has been. So I would suggest that in that left 8, the plan at the beginning of our kind of window was for Kiernan to be playing there, but he's obviously seen something in training that suggests that Enzo is just way better in that position than Kiernan is, and obviously we know how good Enzo is, and especially in the form that he's in right now. So I think that's part of the reason why. I don't think he's actually going to be sold in January. I think that's a bit of what's the word? That's a bit of hysterical media reporting. I'd imagine if he does go away from Chelsea, it'll be on a loan deal. There's no way that we're selling him like immediately after 6 months. It's just not going to happen. I imagine if he'll probably get a loan, and he'll probably actually be loaned back to Leicester. Would probably be what they do, because they kind of need a player like him. That's kind of what I'd expect. Are the lineups out yet? I think they should be out soon. Let me take a brief look. So apologies for the lighting. It's a bit dark outside and very dreary over here. Yeah, I mean, they play Santos and Kiernan play in different positions. So I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but Santos was a player that, like Leslie Ugochukwu, who's obviously not having the greatest time out at Southampton, they are players that needed an extra year before they're ready for the first team. You need to remember that, like, despite Santos playing so well over in Ligue 1, the difference between the Premier League and Ligue 1 is astronomical in terms of intensity, especially in that midfield area. So I think that he basically needed an extra year, and I think that he will probably come in next summer. If he's not recalled in January, because I don't think he will be. I think they'll let him have a whole year out in France. If he's good, if he's basically seen in the next like pre-season, if he's seen, I think he will get a starting place, especially considering we're probably going to be losing some midfielders this season, or even this summer, or even this January. We might be seeing Carney go. Yeah, Santos is more of an 8. He's a bit of a weird one. He's a bit of his profile is a bit of a mixture. I would like to call him a 7, but that doesn't make sense because usually your 7s are your wide players. But he's kind of a mixture between a 6 and an 8 because he's so good in both boxes. Obviously, we saw how well he was goal scoring for the Brazilian youth team when he was getting into that setup all the time. Has the lineups come out yet? Let me see. They should come out soon. So my push notifications for Chelsea aren't working anymore, so that's fun. But I would imagine that the team would be something to this effect. And if it's not, I would imagine there's going to be inclusions in the back line. I'd imagine would probably be the change. No, the Chelsea still haven't put out the lineup yet, but yeah. So in that midfield area, we have obviously Santos, we have Ugachukwu, we have um, we have other attacking talent that is coming through the ranks as well, with Esteval and Paez, and we've got Anselmino coming in for the centre back role. We've got a lot of young, exciting talent coming through the ranks. I think that's just kind of, we're starting to reap the benefits of this Clear Lake plan, where we just buy every single young talent that's available on the market. What's my impression of Giyu? I think Giyu's been very, very good. In the very limited appearances that we've seen him, I think in preseason he was especially impressive. And though I would prefer to have seen him get a few more games, we kind of, I think the signing with Joao Felix has kind of been a bit damaging to Giyu in a way, because I think the plan was kind of, before we got Felix, was kind of to play Giyu as the second striker in this Conference League team and have Nkunku behind him, which I think would have been a good setup. But because we got Joao Felix, and Nkunku now plays in the 9, and he hasn't been given the most amount of opportunities, the thing that kind of impresses me the most about Giyu is because we've seen him kind of miss chances, and that's going to happen with young players. You need to remember he's only like 18, so a very, very raw player. But the thing that impresses me the most is not only his kind of tenacity and drive to press, which is something you can't really be taught. It's kind of something you're either born with, or you either have or you don't have. But it's the movement off the ball, which I think is very impressive for him. And I think that he is going to, if he continues to play the way he's playing and he can get some more consistent game time, his profile being a little bit different to Jackson's is something that's quite valuable for us. And hopefully, I really hope that he gets a goal in this game. I think that's the one. If I'm going to ask for one thing in this game, there's going to be two things I want to get from this game, other than the win, because obviously the win is the most important thing. I want to get a Jurgensen clean sheet, and I want to get a Mark Guiu goal. Those are my two things I want. Maybe a Carney goal as well. That would be nice. It's starting to seem to be quite defensive. Yeah, I think that against us especially, they were always going to be defensive. We've kind of come to expect that the teams that we face in this competition aren't going to really attack us. For the most part, Heidenheim was like the only team that really kind of went for us. I mean, Servette actually came at us in the second leg. They actually kind of they tried to get back into the tie, but apart from that, most of the teams we face are just not good enough in terms of their attacking quality to actually give much of a threat, and they're going to always try and put out a defensive base. But yeah, Astana has been quite a stalwart defense so far in this competition, and the thing which is kind of fun is that we do have a bit of a disadvantage in one way, in the fact that obviously this is a home tie for them, and the weather over in Kazakhstan is very, very dire. Like, it is minus 18 degrees at times, and I think that might be partly the reason why this game is such an early kickoff, because they want to get the game done before the sun sets, because it will get absolutely frigid, and they're going to be used to playing in those conditions. None of our players really have ever played in that type of environment. Maybe Jurgensen has, because he's obviously from a Scandinavian nation, but everyone else is kind of like nowhere near that level of cold. So maybe that's something that they've got going for them, and maybe they can kind of be a bit more adventurous because of that. If we start cold and don't really get up to speed, the warm-ups are going to be very important. I would suggest need to have some good warm-ups, and hopefully we can take it to them. But yeah, I think so. I was gonna say I've noticed that they've got I saw that when I was doing a little bit of research on Astana, I did see that they had conceded a lot of shots, and I was surprised by that when I saw it, because I was like, I swear they haven't actually conceded that many goals, if I remember correctly. Even though they've lost 2 games, I don't think they've actually. I feel like they haven't. Hang on, let me check the table again. And maybe I'm getting confused with another team, but I'm pretty sure they haven't actually conceded that many, despite being down in 23rd. Yeah, they've only got a -2 goal difference, which isn't that bad, considering they're all the way down in 23rd, whereas some of the teams around them have -5, -7, with being Noah, obviously. If you go further down, there's teams that have conceded. They've conceded a lot more, and they've got like -8, for example. So yeah, not not the worst defensive record for them. And this is this is our last away day in this competition, and then our next game is going to be a home tie, and I can't remember who we're against Shamrock Rovers, I believe, right? Someone like that. It sounds very awful of me to not actually know our opponents, but it's one of those things where, like, we kind of knew that we were going to breeze through this first stage. I should actually check that. Is it Shamrock Rovers? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. Okay. And that's on the 19th of December. That's our final. No, it's not our final game. It's our second final game before the before Christmas. Our game before Christmas is actually Everton in the league at Goodison. So that'll be a fun one. But yeah, we've got this game, and I'm pretty sure we win this game, we win the game against Shamrock Rovers, and we should be home dry with a clean 100% record, which would be nice. I'm trying to think of other players I would like to see here as well, because there are other youth players that are on the bench, and I'm trying to kind of think. So we've got I think Harrison's on the bench. He'd be fun to see. Obviously, Dyer, I mentioned earlier. I think he'd be nice to see off the bench. It's sad again because we don't have Mudryk. I don't know if he's still ill or if he's just being rested because of the thing. Harvey Vale, yeah, good shout, Harvey Vale. I could probably see him. I'm not sure if McMahon is on the list. I'm not sure if I can recall. But yeah, we've got a lot of youth on the bench. I would like to see us kind of, even though this is a rotated side, I would like to see us to put in a pretty professional performance and kind of win this game comfortably before we kind of decide, hey, let's throw all the youth on and give them a go. So hopefully we see that. But yeah, I'm currently kind of stalling because the lineups would have usually come out by now, but they still haven't. So I don't know what's going on there. We've got maybe they are. So it's fun because the last few games I've been saying, like, hey, they usually release the lineups a bit earlier when it's not a 3 p.m. kickoff, but for some reason they're just not today, so that's fun. But yeah, and also I should probably give yeah, Misha, yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah, Misha would be used to the cold, obviously being a Ukrainian, and playing in Shakhtar for so long. I should mention as well, right? So I'll do some like kind of channel admin whilst we wait for the lineups, and I'll actually get the Chelsea page up on my phone real quick, just so when it comes out I can see that. So I've seen a lot of comments in the recent videos. A lot of people want Feeling Blue to come back. I know that is a thing that most people have been saying. I want to make it clear that Feeling Blue was not not the thing that was cancelled when I changed to this new format. It's only the lead-in that's been cancelled. Feeling Blue will be coming back soon. It's just that recently I've just not really felt up to doing streams after games, and a lot of our games that I've kind of been covering have been quite late. Obviously with the old holidays coming around, it's a bit harder to kind of sort things out. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the channel, but my partner lives in America, so our time difference is very different, and so a lot of the time I'm on a sleep schedule that is completely different to England. I do not have an English sleep schedule, so a lot of the time when it's like, oh cool, the match is over, I'm instantly like, cool, I want to go to sleep immediately, because I've been awake for so long. Today is one of those days. As you could probably tell, I sound a bit off the pace. That would be why, because I've been up for a long time. Yeah, Feeling Blue will be coming back, not for this game because this is not a particularly important one, and I don't think it's that needed, but for Brentford especially, that'll be coming back. What else is there that I need to update you on? So I'm planning, and I've spoken to the members, the channel members, about this, that I have the Discord channel for members only at the moment. I'm planning on making that a public thing. So those of you who aren't members will be able to access that at some point soon. I'll update you more on that when that happens. And obviously I'm going to get some different rewards for the members in replacement of that. The lineups are out supposedly. Let's see. What am I doing? Let me go to this screen. Are the lineups out? Come on, Chelsea. Here we go. Right. Now we can switch back to this one. Whoa. So we have Jurgensen, Chempong, Disasi, Tosin, Vega, Raksaki, Dewsbury Hall, Neto, Chukwemeka, George, and Giyu. So exactly what I predicted. We do have Elise on the bench. Obviously, younger brother of Michael. Murray Campbell's on the bench. Wilson's on the bench. Keanu Dyer, Harvey Vale, Lucas Bergstrom's on the bench too. That's fun. So yeah, we pretty much predicted the lineup. Something a bit interesting here is that this lineup is being put out as a 4-2-3-1, maybe. So that's a bit interesting. Hang on, let me put this down here for a second. So the lineup's kind of weird because we've got Neto. Obviously, it does it right to left. So we have Neto on this. We have Neto playing kind of. So maybe we're gonna kind of see this more than a 4-3-3. We're gonna kind of see this with Carney playing as the actual lone 10 here, and then obviously we have Neto and George kind of playing in these deeper roles. So that's interesting. Because I thought that we'd kind of play more with Kidden being a bit more of one of the 10s. So that's fun. We get to see Carney playing in his favourite 10 role, and I think he's probably going to be, out of all of the players that are in this 11, he is the one that is kind of looking to impress the most, I would suggest. Because no one else here really needs to, well, I guess a Chempong too, considering the contract talks. But no one else here is like making a push for like, hey, I need to be getting into the starting 11 every week, other than maybe Kiernan. So I think it's a really big game for Carney, especially considering there's been rumours, obviously, that he might be exiting in January. That if he is exiting in January, he'll want to kind of prove his worth and be like, hey, look, you should buy me. I'm very good. Because obviously we all know how good he is, but apparently Enzo either just doesn't see it or has been advised by the board not to play him. But yeah, that's the lineup. I got 11 out of 11, I believe, right? Jurgensen, Chempong, Disasi, Tosin, Vega, Raksaki, KDH, Neto, Chukwemeka, George, and you. Yeah, cool. 11 out of 11. That's 2 times in a row I got 11 out of 11. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out as ever. As I said, I'm not going to be doing a Feeling Blue after this game, but there will be a tactical breakdown as ever. I think this will be quite interesting to break this game down, considering the rotations that we have, and the slightly different setup that we have here. But yeah, I said for the Brentford game, also I'll be doing another pre-match stream for Brentford. We'll be doing a post-match stream for Brentford. We'll be doing Feeling Blue again. So that's coming back. And then obviously we'll do a tactical breakdown for that as well. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I think part of Carney's problem is probably the injuries, if I'm being honest. But I think it's one of those things where sometimes players will get into their own head with injuries, and they can't play to the best of their ability because of their kind of fear of getting re-injured. We kind of saw that with with Fofana last year. I would suggest, when he kind of was out for the whole not Fofana. Who I'm going Colwill. We saw that with Colwill last year when he got injured for a few weeks or however long it was. When he came back, he didn't seem like himself. Maybe it was Badia Shield. I'm getting my centre backs mixed up, but regardless, I think Carney's one of those ones where it's like he had such a kind of bad injury, and when he came back, he didn't really get back into the team, and that can kind of be football is and most sports are a very mental game. And that kind of just kind of be like, you can kind of have like a horrible downward spiral of those types of things. Hopefully this isn't for Carney. I think Carney's a type of player where if we sell him, which is obviously it's looking likely that we might be getting rid of him in January. If we sell him, he's going to go to another club and be absolutely superb. We just know that that's going to happen. I suggest he'd probably go to another lower Premier League club. Maybe someone like Southampton, as they try and kind of get themselves out of the relegation zone, something like that. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out as ever. Hopefully we get another 3 points in the Conference League. Hopefully we get another win here. Hopefully we get to see a lot of the youth players that are on the bench too, and we can break this game down at the end. Yeah, so that's one of the rumours, is he might be going to AC Milan. I saw that. That was kind of funny, because he'd fit right in with all those guys, all the ex-Chelsea boys. But yeah, as I said, thank you guys for hanging out. I'm going to end the stream here. I still don't have an outro for these things. I should probably do that at some point, because I used to have one for Feeling Blue, but I don't now. But yeah, I'll be live tweeting my reactions to the game as ever on my Twitter. If you don't follow me on my Twitter, I implore you to do so. The links will be down in the description as always, under my socials kind of bit. So yeah, that'll be where I'll be talking about the game. And yeah, up the Chelsea as always. Keep the blue flag flying high as always. And we'll see you guys after the game. Peace.